So next up, we had the WW. Isn't it Universal Championship or is it Undisputed Championship now?
I think it's Undisputed Universal Heavyweight Championship because they combine the two belts.
Okay, well, if it's undisputed, then what's all the fighting about?
I don't know. One thing I will dispute is I liked it better when he came to the ring with two belts. It just looked cooler. It looked cooler. I know it's more weight for him to carry. I know the wise man, probably has some heart palpitations going on. He can't be carrying two belts of, 30 pounds each.
We need to get Paul onto a treadmill. We need Paul around for a good long time, and it's not looking positive right now.
No.
I mean, the man looks like he's sweating out full fat butter when he's around the ring, and he's not doing much.
I feel for him having to wear a suit in the arenas because you see him come on camera and he's just pouring sweat.
Well, what do you want? You want him in a pair of sweats? I mean, I think the suit is good. Like maybe it's kind of tucking things in.
Well, that could be.
So this was a fatal four-way match between Roman Reigns, the champion, LA Knight, AJ Styles, and Randy Orton.
Mm-hmm.
I got to admit, as soon as this match came out second, I was like, well, we know how this one's turning out because there's no way even though I did text you and I said, wouldn't it be incredible if they pulled the trigger on the LA Knight era now?
Mm-hmm.
There was no way it was going to happen second match of the event. No way. You're not going to do that. So I was like, oh, second match, Roman retains. Period. The end. What'd you think of this one, sir? Besides like the 20 minutes worth of intros.
I thought it was good for what it needed to be. You know what I mean? Like it was it started out. I loved how it started out with all three of them just beating the piss out of Roman Reigns. You know what I mean?
That was good. Where at first he's watching all three of them fight
because all three of them had beefs with him. Like he injured. He had taken out Styles and Orton. Knight had legitimately had him beat, if not for his family members coming down and interfering. So I thought it was a nice touch for all three of them to take turns beating on him, and then it devolved because you had Styles and Knight fighting each other, which, by the way, is a rumored WrestleMania 40 match, LA Knight versus AJ Styles. I think that's going to be phenomenal. No pun intended there.
Let's hope they keep going with AJ Styles heading down the heel path.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, Knight is the baby face. Knight is here.
I mean, I hope that they manage to build Styles into like a gigantic heel because right now they really have a shortage of heels besides Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. So they need somebody, and they need someone who is. I kind of dig the way that they're portraying Styles right now. Like he doesn't really care. Like, if I'm aligning with you, it's only because this is what I want to do, and I'll turn on you in a heartbeat because I just don't care.
He did this character when he was in TNA Impact. He'd gone to New Japan Pro Wrestling. He kind of developed this lone wolf sort of character, and I feel like that's what they're bringing back here. Is he's kind of his own man, like you said. He will team up with you until it serves his purposes, and then he'll turn around and stab you in the back. But no, I loved how the action took off. Love the spot where they're outside of the ring and LA Knight is just like taking each guy and just banging his head into the announce table, talking a bunch of smack. I mean,
it's great.
It's not even, and I know he gets a lot of flack for being kind of an Austin Rock ripoff, but no, he has his own style. Like this guy has been doing this stuff for years, and he is not. I do not feel that just because he is loud, boisterous, and charismatic, he's ripping off Austin and Rock. Otherwise, everyone's ripping off Austin and Rock. I'm sorry.
Well, who are Austin and Rock ripping off?
Well, exactly.
They were borrowing from. I mean, borrowing in the loosest term. I mean, Oh no, it's fine. Like he does it his own way, like you say,
Absolutely.
and it's a very different thing. The package is very
and it's
different,
hysterical. I mean, that's part of what his charm is that it's not just that he's talking smack, but he's doing it in an entertaining way where you have to chuckle at him because it's just so it doesn't feel like it should be there, but it's there and it makes you laugh because it's there. You know what I mean?
Well, if anything, Yeah, he's like if The Rock had like shotgun 3 Red Bulls before he came down to the ring. Like, not only is he a guy just looking for a fight, like it looks like he's gonna just like chew the microphone up because he's ready to go.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Oh no, it was great. Actually, one thing I wanted to point out.
Yeah.
I love how they did have the extra long entrances for everybody because it was equal time. But stopping in the middle of all the entrances for the Slim Jim commercial, I was like, what in the hell is going on? Like, is this the beginning of a stroke?
Well,
because I feel like this is a fever dream.
Because LA Knight is tied to Slim Jim.
I understand that, but I was like, we're stopping in the middle of the like, really? Are the people in stadiums seeing this commercial too?
Let me talk to you.
I was like, all right. And Bianca Belair. I was like, okay, fair enough. Like, why not? Why not? Makes perfect sense. But anyways, and the other thing I just wanted to make sure I get out of the way here, because I know that a lot of people will probably say, having watched our videos and being avid watchers, and I know that, I know there's some sort of toady at Titan Towers who's been watching our show because I've seen some of our ideas come to fruition. So it's all right. I just want to make sure that I've been very critical of one Mr. Again, put a straw in it, sir. For God's sake. A lot of little glasses just add up to it. Just get a pint glass. I've been very critical of Roman Reigns over the years. I would say with reason, but regardless, I just want to say, I want to say something nice and positive.
Oh.
I think it was very nice of Roman to show up for work this quarter.
Oh, God.
That really takes a lot of dedication for him.
Yes.
To come out and defend his title in the first quarter of 2024. That was very big of him. So I just want to thank him for that and give him some kudos for that.
Well, while we're giving props to him,
yes,
I got to give props to his fine back body drop to AJ Styles. Probably a lot of that is attributed to Styles launching off of him the way that he did. But good God, did you see the air that he caught before he landed on the mat?
Any move except for a spear. I was shocked. I was shocked.
I know.
It's amazing.
What are your thoughts on LA Knight in this running, jumping suplex from the top? Is that not the greatest move in the world?
Oh my gosh. I saw him do that and I'm like, just please, dear God, don't let him fall on his ass.
Yep.
Because this could be amazing. It was great. It was absolutely
great. He lands it every freaking time, but I understand what you're saying because I think the same thing. I'm like, oh my God, I hope he doesn't, slip on the rope or, it just feels like something that someone could screw up, and he just he nails it every time, and on a grand stage like that is incredible. Mm-hmm. I love the storytelling behind Styles ruining Knight's pinfall on Roman Reigns after hitting his finisher, and then vice versa. Like AJ Styles, I mean, it was painfully slow getting there, but we got to the Styles clash. Part of that I blame on Roman because his stupid arms were not in the right place at the right time. Oh my God. But great storytelling there. I love the 3 RKOs in a row. Randy hitting him on all 3 guys was phenomenal.
It was literally like an orange whip.
3 orange whips. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. And then Styles just beating down, Reigns was again phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
So
no, it was great. And then there was what else did I have down for a note here? So we'll kind of disagree on this. Mm-hmm. I appreciated the fact that when they did the pile for the pinup, that's a totally different thing. A pile up for the pin.
Yes.
That they actually did go the extra distance to make sure that I forget who the first 2 guys were.
I think it was Styles and Knight.
Okay, so they both had their shoulders on the mat. Like they were draped over each other in such a way that they made sure that both of their shoulders were on the mat. So it's a simultaneous predicament. So they were like, oh, well, it's not a pin because they're both on the mat. And then even when they stacked up the third guy, all 3 of they managed to drape them in a way, which is a detail that I think can get overlooked.
Yeah.
And to me, that was one of those little things that really shows just how experienced all four of those guys. I mean, well, the three guys who are pinned up, because I mean, let's face it, Roman probably would have had his hair touching the mat.
Good God.
But overall, like, I gave this match a 4 out of 5. It was a good match. I will say it was a good match for the three guys who were not the champion. That was the reason why it was a good match. And I usually do not like the 3-way, 4-way, fatal 4-way, fatal 3-way, whatever, matches, because like I've said before, usually it involves like one guy powdering out of the ring for an immense amount of time. And then they just rotate that around. So it ends up a 1-on-1. Like, they did a very good job of this being all four guys kind of active most of the time.
Yeah.
And keeping the action moving. So that it didn't become boring and you didn't forget about somebody for a prolonged period of time. So I thought that was really well done. And that's what really kind of my rating went so high. I might have even been tempted to give it more, but I can't in good conscience go higher than that when your champion is the least interesting part of the match. And that's what everyone's fighting over, is the championship.
Yep.
And it's like I haven't been keeping track, but I think this is like the 79th BS finish for Roman. And he only wrestles like 4 matches a year. So that's taken a while. I'll just use this as my soapbox moment here. I think they need to get the belt off of Roman. I think this is one of those things that creatively it's taking a while to turn around. And I think they've painted themselves into a corner. It's taking a long ass time for the paint to dry so they can figure out how to get it off him. I think they would love in some ways to continue the Vince plan of, he's going to break Hogan's record. Unfortunately, even the non-smart fans, even the non-smarks understand it's not the same. Hulk was working a full schedule. Roman is barely defending the title.
Yep.
And if you have any other title and you get hurt, like Seth Rollins at this point, he's like, I could work in 3 months. That's when Roman's scheduled to wrestle next. How come I can't hang on to my title in all that time? And what's your argument against that exactly? You need to get the title off of this guy, and then just make him go away, and then you can bring him back. Like, I think you need to have Cody beat him at WrestleMania, and just have Roman go away for like 8 months. Just disappear.
Yeah.
And then he can come back. And then maybe you get a rematch at the next WrestleMania or something. And all in total, he'll be working the same amount of time in those 3 or 4 months that you have in the build up to that he has in basically the whole year anyways. Just do that. Get it off him. It's so terrible to have like the biggest draw in your company be a part-time guy and everyone kind of forget. Like, everyone pops for the entrance and then they're like, oh yeah, it's the same match. You got to get it. You got to get this.
I agree with you that the formula for the match is getting old.
Oh, it got old.
Like
3 matches ago, which I mean is like 6 months.
Though, I don't know why, but for some reason I like his vibe when he comes to the ring and just his vibe as the champion. Like the fact that he is this guy who comes in only at certain times. I don't know why I'm digging it more than I mean, I guess I dug it somewhat with Brock Lesnar as well, but there's something special about a guy like that, and it gives him a certain aura. It gives him a certain sense of specialness. I know you don't agree because you don't like him, but I
like him a lot more if he actually wrestled. Like, his moveset has shrunk over the last 2-3 years I've seen him. It just keeps getting, I mean, and I get it. Like, the bigger you are, the less you do. It was always with Austin, like a Thez press, stunner, done. Like, fine.
Right.
But at least Austin was around. Roman isn't even around to really carry any of these storylines. It's always his surrogates. And he's not actually winning the matches either.
Yeah, but I do think it's coming to an end because
thank God.
Last year, no, and a lot, and again, this goes back to a lot of credit going to Sami Zayn. I really believe Sami Zayn allowed this entire faction and storyline to exist for a year longer than it probably was going to, because of the fact that A year ago at this time, what we were talking about was the chair shot heard around the world, which is when he finally turned his back on Roman after trying to work his way into the bloodline for so long, seeing his friend get brutalized by this group that he's with, and finally just saying enough is enough and whacking Roman in a way that no one ever thought he would. That, I think, probably is what allowed them to extend this past WrestleMania 39. I think without Sami Zayn, you have Cody going over Roman and starting, finishing the story, but starting a new chapter of what now this means for Cody. Now I think we're headed toward, obviously, and I loved how they did it at the end of the match, where it was a stare down, kind of in a way between the two of them. Roman knowing exactly whose, shot Cody was going to call, to have a second shot at him at WrestleMania. The key is going to be, how do they get the family out of it? Because as long as Solo, I mean, I'm sure Solo and Jimmy are going to play some part of it, but there's got to be something happening this year that's different, that's going to keep them out of it, that's going to allow him to hit the trifecta of Crossroads like he did at last year's WrestleMania. He's going to hit his move 3 times. He's going to put Roman down finally, and the crowd is going to go, completely ballistic because of it.
I'm calling it right now.
Yes, sir.
Hell in a Cell.
You know what? We don't see Hell in a Cell in WrestleMania very much, do we?
Have we ever?
You're
the one who would know this.
We do, but not under great circumstances. And I say that because
is that the Boss Man Al Snow one? No. Are you serious?
That's the match that sticks out. Otherwise, I don't think we've had a Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania mostly.
Poor Pepper. Can we pour one out for Pepper? Don't you dare.
Keyboard don't you dare. I'm going to have one fried keyboard if I did that.
So what did you end up giving this one, sir? I can't remember.
I gave it a 4.0. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was a, just a well put together match. Great storytelling. I think the other 3 principals in this, Randy, AJ, LA, did that's funny. Actually, AJ and LA, that's going to be a good match. It's going to be the match of the acronyms. But anyway,
and Randy.
That's right. Randy and RKO, LA, AJ, RKO. No, I thought it was a good match for what it was. To your point, I don't think anyone really expected there to be an upset tonight. Or that night, and so I think it was what it was, and it served as a, in some ways, an exorcism of some demons from a couple of these characters based on how they were maligned and injured by Roman Reigns, but he ends up coming away and remaining champion, and so, but we know why, because he is going to live to fight another day for someone else to take him down, and that someone is going to be Cody Rhodes. WrestleMania 4.
Right on.